I don't know why people like being oppressed. It's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. I love oppression. We're oppressed. 400 years of slavery, Jim Crow, which by...
I have a young lady who's been very much in the news in the last 3 or 4 days.
Candace Owens.
She's fantastic. She's like the hottest thing out there now.
Shapiro and Candace Owens
continuing to feud over the proper response to the conflict between Israel and Hamas.
Yes, the question is about Candace Owens. I think her behavior during this is disgraceful.
This is where we get to the topic of where people perceive this and they say, is this a form of Jew supremacy? To say, suspend your Christianity because my Judaism matters more is the feeling that I get when you say, you don't get to say it's an unholy rabbi.
My calling you as anti-Semite is attacking you for how you act, not attacking you as a human being.
Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we're diving into the fascinating journey of Candace Owens, a figure who's made quite an impact in the world of politics. Candace Owens is a renowned political activist and commentator who has climbed the ranks from her humble beginnings to become a prominent voice in conservative circles. But what's interesting is her transformation from an anti-conservative to a staunch conservative.
Candace Owens was born in 1989 in Stamford, Connecticut, where she was raised by her grandparents along with her 3 siblings. At 17 years old, she made local headlines after receiving multiple racist death threats via voicemail from several of her classmates.
Born to a Caribbean father and American mother, Candace grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood. She experienced racism and colorism firsthand, which has undoubtedly shaped her perspectives on race relations in America. However, how exactly this influenced her philosophy on the black experience remains to be determined.
Teacher who alerted the school and the authorities.
I didn't go to the police. Like, my teacher went to the police. It turned into the zoo. These kids were labeled publicly racists, right? I'm not comfortable with ever labeling a 14-year-old racist.
Owens switched to homeschooling during her senior year of high school. With the help of the NAACP, she and her grandfather eventually sued the Stamford Board of Education.
They're going through a unique situation and feeling that my whole life was out of control. I just manifested as an eating disorder.
Despite facing these challenges, she went to Rhode Island University to study journalism but dropped out in her junior year. She worked in Corporate America for a few years before she started different startups, which led to her finally becoming a conservative star. After becoming a conservative, her controversial views on black Americans propelled her to becoming one of the leading black conservatives in the nation.
In 2016, she launched a Kickstarter campaign for socialautopsy.com, a website where people could send in screenshots of offensive
29,
posts.
she is the most influential young black conservative voice in American politics.
Since becoming one of the top conservative voices, her main talking points include highlighting that black people didn't have a racial problem and highlighted the violence in the black community. She correctly called out the Black Lives Matter organization for abusing the funds donated to them. She has been advocating for men's rights and discouraged policies she terms as woke.
Dad, I'm a lesbian. I like girls. We love you regardless. Oh, thank you guys. Oh, also, I think I might be a conservative.
What does Black Lives Matter want? I mean, to date, it seems like all they've really accomplished is burning down black neighborhoods, pissing off police officers, and ruining future employment opportunities for black kids that riot on their behalf and get arrested. Approximately 93% of black homicide victims are killed by other black people. Nobody wants us dead more than we want ourselves dead. Everybody involved in this fake racial war is a loser.
One thing I always say, Tucker, is that the left can pull a racist narrative from thin air where it doesn't exist, but when it actually is in their face, they try to avoid it at all costs, especially when the perpetrator is a black person against another white person, which obviously happens more often in this country, given the fact that black Americans are the most murderous group in America by rate.
Collusion is the dumbest shit that you guys have pulled out in a really long... Really, this is it? Like, this is where... Oh my gosh, if you don't vote for Democrats, if you don't get behind...
Candace, I know about your story, but this is riveting. I want to beg you to come on the full show sometime with Paul and I and share these stories. Paul, what a great guest.
I don't know why people like being oppressed. It's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. I love oppression. We're oppressed. 400 years of slavery, Jim Crow, which, by the way, none of you guys lived through. Your grandparents did, and it's embarrassing.
You have a young lady who's been very much in the news in the last 3 or 4 days.
Candace Owens.
Because she's fantastic. She's like the hottest thing out there now.
Our community after the first 100 years, doctor, come on. The 100 years after slavery, the black community was doing better. We were going up, up, up. Then suddenly they socialized our community via welfare policies, and the black community started going down, down, down.
100 years after slavery, black folks were still being beaten and killed. They were still being lynched. They were still denied opportunities.
Kanye also gave Owens a shout out, sparking a relationship that lasts to this day.
However, her stardom in the conservative spaces seems to be coming to an end. This after she criticized the US foreign policy on Israel and advocating for the US to stop funding the war in Israel and Ukraine. She has been labeled as anti-Semitic and has been fired from the Daily Wire.
I saw the attacks from Rabbi Shmuley, which were available to you when you wrote this article. And then they see you write something. Please let me finish. He defends his children when attacked and is proud of their accomplishments. Hold. Because I never attacked them first. They've been attacking me consistently for 2 years. And then you go on. Hold on.
Candace, you're smarter than this.
I know, well, just let me finish. Then you go on and you talk about me. People might say this might be a racist trope, but here we go. She dropped out of college because of a quote-unquote issue with a student loan, never even voted in elections until she had successfully created her unique brand, a pretty black woman who's politically conservative. When anyone confronts her about her lack of knowledge or wisdom, she retreats to the position of counterattacking them for not appreciating a strong black woman who goes against
My calling you as anti-Semite is attacking you for how you act, not attacking you as a human being. That doesn't mean it's okay for you to attack him. You know better than that. You teach your children all that better than that.
That's where we get to the topic of where people perceive this and they say, is this a form of Jew supremacy? To say, suspend your Christianity because my Judaism matters more is the feeling that I get when you say, you don't get to say it's an unholy rabbi. Pornography is unholy, in my view. You might disagree with that. It is unholy to Christians. The topic of pornography, peddling pornography, selling butt plugs, the commercialization of pornography is a Jew-hating bigot. That's very strong language, and we need to go through these points. So
we'll go through all of them, sure.
Yes, thank you. Okay, let's just begin here. So you basically make the argument that I'm drunk on fame, and this is a woman who is such an anti-Semite and so ignorant of history.